Hey fashion friends! The Haute Couture Fashion Week is officially over for the Spring and Summer 2025 season. So today we are reviewing the last day, day 4. We will be again going through all the shows that were presented during the day, starting with some elegant shows in the morning in a black and white palette, going to some more extravagant, color bomb shows with extraordinary designs at the end of the day, so stay tuned for that. It was an explosion of creativity. And if you missed day 1, 2 or 3 recaps, I will link them down for you so you can catch up. So yeah, let's close this season's fashion week with the last day's recap of all of the shows. The first show of the day was Aelis exploring softness and utility in their collection. Aelis Couture Spring Summer 2025 is a tribute to the courage of ideas and the power of commitment, an ode to conscious creation where art, nature, and human expression converge in harmony. This collection pays homage to Suzanne Tarasieva, a dear friend and muse of Aelis. Designed with a deep respect for nature and artistic expression, the collection reflects on the connection between the individual and the garments they wear. Sofia Crociani, founder and the designer of Aelis, embraces couture as a living art form, one that evolves through craftsmanship, interpretation, and movement. Lace plays a significant role this season, acting as both a narrative thread and a structural element. Sofia incorporates antique lace crafted from silk thread and dating back to the late 19th and the early 20th centuries, repurposing it into contemporary forms. By integrating historical elements, the collection establishes a dialogue between past and future, tradition and reinvention. Such an experiment is in the line with her ethos. She has built her brand on the intersection of sustainability and art, using mostly vintage materials from her own extensive archives, and sourced vintage jewelry and hardware, and found feathers so as not to harm the birds. This season, those textiles were transformed into wispy dresses with a boudoir air, silken tulle skimming the body in a monochrome palette, with some touches of velvet and bows consistent with Crociani's romantic style. Absence of color plays a vital role in this collection, unfolding a narrative in shades of white and black. These contrasts become a metaphor for individuality, rejecting uniformity and embracing the beauty of uniqueness. Each creation is a reflection of its wearer, a personal interpretation of timeless elegance. Men's looks featured asymmetrically draped lace and feather accents, evoking historical dress with a contemporary softness. Aelis Spring-Summer 2025 is not just a collection, it is a movement, an evolving narrative of kindness, sensitivity, and fragility, redefining couture through the lens of sustainability and artistic integrity. Next show on the schedule was Ashi Studio. This season, the couturier reflected on a portion of Parisian history tied to the boudoir and the bourgeois, he said over the phone ahead of his show, which took the place in Hotel Salomon de Rothschild. I felt that I could tackle something I hadn't done before, which is sensuality, said the Paris-based designer Ashi, who only goes by his last name. As a reference, Ashi looked at Madame Claude, the famous French brothel keeper from the 60s, because of the many touchpoints she represented. The French, the sensual, the bourgeois. The show opened with a run of lingerie-inspired looks that put on display Ashi's deft hand for corsetry. Mistress of her own destiny, with aspirations to be a bourgeois, is how he described the woman he imagined this spring. Opening with corseted looks, their structure made all the more salient by whispered thin lace, the show progressed to more covered sensuality like a slinky velvet gown that exposed the body before arching up into gravity-defying train, or with shapes forming cocoons that telegraphed a look but don't touch impression. By the end, that echoed the trappings of the well-to-do French home, turning its curio items such as coromandel screens and marquetry furniture into intricately embroidered mother-of-pearl incrustations on corsets. The dogs his models carried are actually also haute couture, handmade and embellished to perfectly match their owners' ensembles. They are an impressive feature, given that their collars were linked to the owners either through jewelry of their own or as brooches on their looks. After Ashi Studio, Juana Martin was presenting the couture collection called Identidad, which brought flamenco soul into the future. Martin is the only Spanish designer on the Haute Couture calendar, a badge she wears with pride with textiles as her canvas. She designs collections that illustrate new elements of Andalusian culture and heritage each season. With Identidad, she celebrates feminine power and flamenco heritage, reinterpreted through a contemporary approach. Inspired by legendary Spanish figures such as Lola Flores and Carmen Amaya, Martin crafts a collection that exalts the strength and passion of women, retraces the flamenco universe, and gives it a modern twist. The show began not with a model but with the mesmerizing voice of Estrella Morente. The famous Granada-born flamenco singer sailed down the runway wearing a gown with a dramatic black train and serenading rapt guests with heartfelt passion. Beginning with an imaginative white chrysalis dress, which seemed to defy physics due to the delicate nature of the fabric yet robust and dramatic nature of the silhouette. Martin guided guests on a soulful journey that brought flamenco soul into the future. A series of black and white gowns, many glittering with jewels or flowing with elaborately layered ruffles, capture the often tragic, always alluring thematic nature of flamenco. Natural tones, for example cream and a rich brown, emphasize what the show notes describe as the authenticity and artisanal savoir-faire of Martin's work. Florals were a recurring motif, sometimes hinted at the silhouettes of garments and the other times figuratively present on elaborate adornments. Next on the schedule was Peet Dullaert, with a collection that fused traditional craftsmanship with an unexpected edge of athletic wear. The Dutch designer explored new materials and shapes to redefine his couture. The show explored the evolving dialogue between movement, structure, and the modern body, offering a radical interpretation of luxury dressing. Dullaert's work often takes twists and turns literally as he gathers fabric around the body and renders it into unusual shapes and dimensions. With the first looks of athletic wear, his lines were clean, slim, and slightly confrontational. He chose the material to emphasize that couture is about craft, not textile, and that it should reflect inner strength and modern movement. Dullaert opened with handcrafted athletic pieces, biker shorts, zip jackets, and leotards, reimagined in flesh-tone neutrals adorned with jewels and paired with slow slang beaded skirts. This approach underscored his belief that couture is about construction rather than fabric alone, emphasizing inner strength and fluidity over opulence. "I'm trying to see how I could merge the idea of the old world and the new one," he said backstage, "and also define new silhouettes. I'm reversing that idea of the volume, taking the construction and applying it on the inside. In the world of workout clothes everywhere, it's an idea worth exploring." Athletic wear and its fabrics also served as the foundation for gowns, peeking out under a delicate lace frock and as the asymmetric base of a beaded black number that bridged to Dullaert's more classic looks as his girl got dressed up again. Suiting was in relaxing plissé or more structure with an exaggerated lapel, and the men's coat was structured and single-breasted. By stripping down his construction, only to build it back up again, Dullaert showed he is guided by his inner light. Later in the day, Maison Sara Chraïbi was presenting a couture collection which told the story of ascension, featuring a tree that climbs to the heavens. Moroccan designer Sara Chraïbi wanted to be less literal with the crafts of her homeland that she has successfully championed on the Paris runway. "Maybe I feel less of a need to tell the story of Morocco. It remains an inherent part of who I am, my history, my religion, and my spirituality, and I still want to express that in the collection, but perhaps in a more light-hearted way," she explained backstage ahead of the show. This season, Chraïbi told a spiritual story of the skies, both real and imaginary, in a collection dominated by ivory, pale blue, and silver. "I was reading a passage from the Quran about a sacred tree in the sky," she said. "It's a tree that souls who have done good deeds climb, and it's a story of ascension." Its foliage provided ample resources for demonstrating her craftsmanship, worked in embroideries on organza or as hundreds of leaves cut by hand, used as fringing on skirts or embroidered and appliqued onto her creations over guipure open-work bodices. Jersey was frayed by hand to create shape-shifting rope skirts that overlaid several designs, some mixed with the leaves. Prints evoked the night sky seen from the forest floor on a cape dress or suggested a blustery vision in pale blue and lilac ombre on a cropped kimono pantsuit in satin with balloon sleeves. There were embellished and embroidered kaftans and headscarves, rich colored stones. It was some of the simpler designs that stole the show though, like a white organza shift embroidered front and back with a tree that mirrored the shape of the human spine. Chraïbi is expanding her international footprint meanwhile. She was recently part of an initiative to highlight Moroccan craft in Doha, Qatar, and will take part in London Fashion Week coming up. Next we have Miss Sohee, who is the newest member on the schedule of the Fédération de la Haute Couture. Miss Sohee, the brand founded by the South Korean designer Sohee Park, presented her debut collection at Hotel Pozo di Borgo, the historic residence once owned by Karl Lagerfeld. Park favors sensually sculpted silhouettes. As a woman designing for women, I love to accentuate the body's natural curves, she said. Her fascination with the form of petals and shells was a recurring motif throughout the collection. She also expressed an appreciation for modesty, though her opening look suggested otherwise. Coco Rocha appeared in a sheer black chantilly lace bodysuit paired with a matching face mask and lace-up stiletto boots, all layered beneath a corseted bodice with python-printed round-shaped shells covering the hips. The collection was definitely about seduction and glamour. Rustling silks and taffetas, sinuous silhouettes, corsetry, petticoats peeking from beneath the gowns, and exposed brassieres. This season, I was really drawn to the beauty of undergarments, Park explained. The form-fitting, curvaceous creations of previous seasons were reinterpreted in softly draped leather, lavishing or intricate embellishments. Park created raised sequin embroidery of fauna and flora, a delicate homage to her Korean heritage, alongside mother-of-pearl inlays adorning purses and belts. Park has a taste for the theatrical as well as for sensuous femininity. There's an exquisite flamboyance to her creations that make them strike a balance between Western contemporary style and delicate Eastern grace. Celebrities and movie stars are paying attention for sure. Designer Sohee Park, marking her first show on the official calendar at Paris Haute Couture, specializes in the soft dramatic volumes that have made her red carpet favorite with celebrities including Cardi B, Sharon Stone, and Anya Taylor-Joy, who wore one of her designs in the last Vanity Fair Oscar party. I feel more comfortable being myself and really looking into myself, the soft-spoken designer said. But make no mistake about it, Park is a powerhouse in the making. In just 5 years, the London-based designer has built a couture workshop that now employs 37 people, is preparing to launch her first line of handbags, and has inked a partnership with South Korean industrial conglomerate Hyosung Group to develop innovative materials for future collection. Asked if she hopes to become Britain's #1 couture house, she simply replied, "I would love to." And the last show on the schedule, concluding the day and concluding the whole Haute Couture Fashion Week, was Germanier. Imagine Miss or Mr. Perfect, like Brie van der Kamp, wanting to switch things up, said Kevin Germanier backstage before his inaugural couture show. What if each of your cells became infused with Germanier? That was the premise of a lineup in which he expanded the scope of his found materials to include an upscale vintage wardrobe for her and for him. While the labels that could be seen peeking from the collar of a jacket or inside of a shoe thrifted by Germanier caught the eye, Dior, Yves Saint Laurent, Oscar de la Renta, to name but a few, he said the point he tried to prove was that he could be trusted to do a good job combining them. A handful of menswear looks were slotted in to show it's not just a one-off for women, because in 2025 anyone can wear crystallized pieces, he said. On the runway, the initial impression was par for the course Germanier has set so far, with color-filled beading, chunky knitwear, and feathery flurries. Up close, the evolution was striking. Beading was done by hand. Raffia was combed out by hand and long reeds were shaped into shivering points, both replacing feathers. A knit set came with softly compact folds that revealed gradients reprising the outfit's main colors. There were also crocheted lame looks that were equal parts intricate and intriguing. Threaded into each of these looks was Germanier's idea that his brand should be a creative studio presenting the best of the best from craftspeople around the world, such as India-based embroiderer Sachin or Brazil Gustavo Silvestre. As for those who felt it hewed too close to the aesthetic he has been showing on ready-to-wear runways, the Swiss designer, who is firing on all cylinders with bespoke projects such as designing costumes for the Eurovision contest this May, had a ready answer. Just because I'm now in couture doesn't mean I'm going to stop upcycling, he said. It would be stupid and my client would stop coming. Germanier said he used second-hand garments and leftovers from workshops in countries including Brazil and India. My client is not just a celebrity, it's literally a woman who just loves fashion and she wants to go to have tea with her friends looking fabulous, he said backstage after the show. Thank you for sticking so long and watching the whole recap of day 4. This video actually concludes the Fashion Week recaps and there will be no more as the Fashion Week is over. However, I will see you hopefully in July for another recap of another Haute Couture Fashion Week. For this day, I think I am picking Germanier as my favorite show because of the explosion of colors and creativity. I really like that show. It was very happy and it made me feel something. I really liked it. Let me know which show did you like the most of day 4 or maybe of the whole Fashion Week. Which designer do you think did the best job? And yeah, thank you for watching and hopefully I'll see you in some next videos. Bye!